Hey everyone. We're surrounded by all this incredibly powerful AI, but let's be honest, how much do we actually trust it? It turns out the biggest hurdle for AI isn't really about writing smarter code. It's about designing better interfaces that let us, peek inside the machine's mind. So today, we're going to dive into how we can turn these AI block boxes into something we can actually understand. This quote right here just hits the nail on the head. The real problem usually isn't that the AI is wrong, it's that we have no clue why it's right. And when you're interacting with a total black box, well, that uncertainty just kills trust. People either end up using the tool the wrong way, or even worse, they just give up on it completely. All right, so here's our game plan. First, we'll unpack what exactly makes AI feel like a black box. Then, we're going to look at some really clever design patterns that are finally letting some light in. After that, we'll see why this is so much more than a design problem. It's a huge deal for businesses. And finally, we'll get a little glimpse into what the future of human-AI collaboration is going to look like. Okay, let's kick things off with section 1, the AI black box. This is really the heart of the conflict, right? We have these amazingly powerful AI systems, but for the everyday person using them, the logic behind the answers is totally invisible. And that creates this massive hidden user experience problem. And this isn't just some abstract idea. These are the real frustrations people have every single day. Have you ever felt like you need to be a prompt engineer just to get a simple answer? Or, that feeling when the AI just spits back your words but doesn't really get what you're asking? If any of that sounds familiar, then you've run headfirst into the black box problem. So, all these little annoyances, they add up to one giant problem, what we call a trust gap. When people can't see the why behind what an AI does, they get nervous, they lose confidence, and that's the exact moment when a product that could have been revolutionary just ends up collecting digital dust. So the big question is, how do we fix this? Well, that brings us right to our second section, designing transparent interfaces. The solution has a name. It's a whole discipline called Explainable AI, or XAI for short. And let me tell you, it's just as much about smart design as it is about complex code. The best way to think about XAI is like pulling back the curtain on the wizard. The goal isn't to overwhelm you with lines of code, but to build interfaces that translate all that complex AI reasoning into something that just makes sense. It's all about giving the control and the confidence right back to you. Now, what I love about this is how it takes these geeky machine learning ideas and turns them into something practical for designers. So transparency just means the AI shows its work, no secret steps. Interpretability is about helping you connect the dots between what you asked for and what you got. And justifiability, that's all about proving the AI's answer wasn't just a lucky guess. Okay, so we've got the principles down, but what does this stuff actually look like in a real app? Let's get into the key design patterns that are already making AI so much clearer and, you guessed it, more trustworthy. We're talking about something called AI design patterns. You can think of these like a toolkit, really. They're proven, reusable solutions for the most common headaches you find when people interact with AI. Things like building trust or helping people recover when the AI gets something wrong. They're literally the building blocks of explainable AI. Okay, first up, we have a pattern called refine output. This one is a game changer. Instead of making you throw away a pretty good AI response just because one little part is off, this pattern turns the whole thing into more of a collaboration. It gives you the tools to just tweak and tune the output right there on the screen. And check out how simple this can be. The AI gives you a first draft. You just highlight a sentence you don't like. A little menu pops up with options like make this more formal or make it shorter. You click it and bam, only that specific part gets updated. It's so elegant, so efficient, and it keeps you firmly in the driver's seat. All right, next up is a pattern that is all about credibility. I mean, how do you really know if you can trust the information an AI is spitting out? Well, the answer can be super simple. Just use clear labels that tell you if you're looking at a raw AI output or content that's been checked over by a real human expert. And just look at the difference it makes. A simple little badge or icon instantly tells you the whole story about that information's reliability. On the one hand, an AI-generated piece might give you a confidence score, like, I'm 85% sure about this. But on the other hand, you get that stamp of human approval, maybe even with a note about who reviewed it. That builds a ton of trust, instantly. Our third pattern is called explainability layers, and this one is really designed for the curious user. See, not everyone needs a super deep dive into the AI's logic, but for those who do, this pattern gives them a clear path. It's all about providing transparency on demand without overwhelming someone who just wants a quick answer. So here's what that journey looks like. You see a recommendation, and right next to it, there's a little link that says something like, why? You click it, you get a simple, high-level summary. Still curious? You click Advanced Details, and suddenly you're looking at the exact data points and rules that led to that decision. It turns a black box into a process you can actually explore. All right, let's zoom out from these really cool design patterns and look at the bigger business picture for a minute. Why is this whole idea of explainability not just a nice little feature, but an absolute must-have for entire companies? Building one cool AI demo is, well, it's the easy part. The real mountain that businesses have to climb is figuring out how to scale that to hundreds, maybe thousands of different applications across the whole company and do it safely and reliably. Honestly, this is the hurdle where most big AI plans fall flat. And that's exactly where enterprise AI platforms come into the picture. They provide all that critical plumbing needed to scale trust. So instead of every single team having to build security and governance and compliance from scratch every time, the platform just handles it. This frees everyone up to focus on solving actual business problems, not reinventing the wheel. So, with all that in mind, what does this mean for the future of how we're all going to work with AI? Well, it's definitely not just going to be about typing questions into a chatbot. The future is looking way more collaborative. We're moving really fast toward what you might call hybrid interfaces. And this is the sweet spot, right? It's where you combine the natural, flexible feeling of a conversation with the clarity and structure of a good old-fashioned graphical user interface. So you can type a command, but you can also see the results visually and click around and interact with them directly. And that's really the key takeaway here. The future isn't a chatbot, it's a shared workspace. It's an environment where the AI acts like a true collaborator, one that doesn't just give you an answer, but also shows you exactly how it got there. And that leaves us with a pretty challenging question to think about. As these AI systems get more and more complex, are we actually designing systems that we can truly understand from the ground up? Or are we just getting better at designing really slick interfaces that make us feel comfortable trusting a black box we'll never fully grasp? It's definitely something to chew on. Thanks for tuning in.